All right. Good evening. Welcome to the ninth episode of Add Water and Stir with Complicated Melodies Mimi.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to
And,
the podcast.
and I am Adoptive Black Mom from the blog of the same name. And we are here on Sunday because wonderful Mimi accommodated my travel schedule. I've been on the road a lot, and I was flying during the time of we were scheduled for our regularly scheduled programming. But so thank you for being so accommodating.
It feels like we haven't talked in a long time, but I guess that extra, couple of days makes
I
it,
know.
yeah. So
I
I'm glad
know.
we're getting to check in again.
Yes, yes. So what's been going on in your world, Mimi?
Well, first, I want to say welcome to anybody who happens to be stopping by, or welcome to our listeners. What's going on in my side of the world? We are just doing family things now that we are official. We are just living life. I'm still working. I put a plea out for everyone on the blog about some reference books you have for toddler behaviors. Nana, she used to just be this beautiful, wonderful, loving child that used to just comply with every one of our requests. And now she drags her feet. She takes all day when she wants you ask her to do something. I'm like, whose child is this? So I'm starting to read some books because we are trying to break that cycle. Because when I was younger, if mom asked me to do something and I did not, she would snatch me up. So there should be no snatching over here. So we need to come up with some other things. I see you sipping that over there. Yes. So that is what's going on. We're also preparing for some of our new traditions, holiday traditions coming up. I'm getting ready for Halloween and just living life. What about you? What's going on with you? Traveling everywhere?
Yeah, so I've been traveling for the last 3 weeks. I've been home. I'll be home for a couple of days, and then I'm gone for maybe four. At the most, I think it was 5 days. So it's been kind of crazy. We've had the nannies who are great. However, one of them didn't get the crock pot meal right on the first trip. So progressively during the course of the month, I've started cooking before I leave so that literally like she could just heat and they eat.
Heat and eat. Hmm.
I thought that that would resolve our problem, and then I saw all of the food like in the refrigerator last night when I got home from LA, and was kind of like, so what did y'all eat?
Obviously not that.
So like the frozen pizza is gone, PB&J, all the lunch meat is gone. But I'm like, but there's chicken and meatloaf in the refrigerator. So anyway, so we're dealing with the perfect nannies that are perfectly imperfect.
And the child that probably is like, I don't want meatloaf today. I'd rather have peanut butter and
Right.
jelly.
Right. And so I'm a little jet lagged because I was in LA just long enough to get acclimated to the time there. Now I'm back, and it is a struggle Sunday today. We're having some little as Mimi talked about Nana's kind of transition.
Hmm.
But just to know, there's like terrible twos, terrible threes, and terrible teens. So,
It's not even a number. It's just all of the teams from 10 to
so
20, 10 to 19.
and I don't know why I get mad because I've read all of these books. I think I wrote a blog about all of the books that I'd read some time ago, and it's hormonal. There's like a whole body of neuroscience around how messy teens are. So I don't even know why I get mad, but it's a struggle Sunday.
Okay.
It's a struggle Sunday. We'll just leave that right there. But in all things are good. I'm home for about a week and a half, and so I'm hoping that we can kind of get our groove back. Um, So yeah. Oh, I did blog about the package that we got from Hope's bio parents, and I just want to publicly thank Mimi because Mimi's writing about being very conscious and deliberate in thinking about um, bio families has really been an inspiration for me. It's been something, this the emergence of Hope's family has been hard for me. One, because it felt threatening, and two, because there's some boundary issues. But this package really showed an enormous amount of respect for me and for Hope, and it just really I'm grateful for the wise counsel of my dear friend, and just kind of being patient because it's a very special thing for my daughter to have such a big family. So now she's got a really big family. She always had one, but I'm really far more open to kind of really navigating the next stages of our relationship with her family, her biological family.
I want to say that is awesome. You made me tear up a little bit. And, all the things I write on my blog are theories, right? I haven't put them in practice. So you took my counsel, and I'm like, yeah, do this. And I haven't done it. But so I am really looking forward to seeing how this unfolds over time because I
Yeah.
do think when you are adopting a child, it's not just you in the equation anymore. They already have a family. That was before you, and we just have to figure out how to integrate those people into our lives and in what way, um, so that we honor them and honor our children and honor ourselves too in the process. So
Yeah. So it's definitely a good thing. But if you read the thing that there were some very lovely gifts in there that were different. I'm not really sure how we're gonna.
wait a minute. So let's talk about these cozies. There was a cozy for what? What was it?
So there's an apron for the dish liquid in the kitchen.
Mhm.
Like it like goes over the thing and ties in the back, and it's it's got a pocket. It's got lace. It's different.
Get into it. Get into it.
Oh,
That
we're
might
gonna
be
put
the new
we're gonna
thing.
put it on there. That's dress up your
Ask
living
her to
closet.
make you one with some kente cloth, and it's gonna be all good. You put that on the internet and sell it.
It's Americana quilting fabric,
Mhm.
so we might make some special requests in the future, and then yes, the soap bar cozies things. And it was so funny because Hope takes it out and she's like, "What is this? What is that?" She goes, "What is that smell?" And I was like, "It's soap." She was like, and I told her just what you told me. Get into it.
Get into it. Just because you haven't seen it before, next thing you might be like, "Wow."
So, but it was just all very sweet. But I'm not even gonna lie. There is a plastic slipcover in my future. I can feel it in
Mhm.
my bones.
Some doilies. My mother makes crochet washcloths. I mean, not washcloths, not for your body, but for to wash dishes with. So I see all that coming because I have a couple for my mom, and I love them, mom. Yes, I do.
Yes. So, and I do think that this is I mean, I know that every group does artsy craftsiest and their grandmas knit and crochet stuff for them, but there is something like because we don't have doilies, but we've got these hats, and she sent hats with like lace around them and stuff, and Hope was like, "Do you put it on?" No, it goes on the wall. I mean, it's kind of like the hat version of the forks that are like in old school black people houses.
Well, we won't believe any of it until we actually see it. So we
Uh,
like to see pictures.
we will be having pictures because I got to put them up. I got to put them up on the wall this week. I told her we would put them up. We just went and bought a very nice flag frame today
Oh.
for her father's flag. So we'll be hanging that right after Struggle Sunday.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe we'll hang it tonight, just to try to end the night on an upswing. So,
Okay.
so anyway, so these are really important moments, and yeah. So what are
I'm
you?
excited for you.
Thank you.
I'm actually, like I said, I'm excited to see how this develops over time, and we just learn how to incorporate those things into our lives.
Yep, you roll with it. You get into it. So what are you sipping on this evening?
Uh, Mimi is not feeling well. I'm a little congested. I don't know what's happening. My eyes feel hazy and watery. So Mimi is sipping on tea with infused with honey. Can you infuse tea with honey, or is just I just have some honey in my tea?
I
So,
think you just poured it in.
so I have tea and honey. That's what I got. What
So,
are you
so,
sipping on?
but is it bougie honey? Did you get the honeycomb?
No, ma'am. I don't know. I think this is the Kroger special $1.99 tea. That's what that is. No
Not
organic tea over here.
no farmers market organic,
No, no,
like
no, no, no,
lavender bees.
no, no. I should have just rolled with it, but that's why I
So,
said there's a spectrum. There's a spectrum.
oh well, I am sipping on a heavy pour of Pinot Grigio.
The Olivia
Um,
Pope pour.
yeah, I should have just kind of rolled with a red solo cup, but and unfortunately, before we went live, I kind of like had a previous heavy pour that like got knocked all over my little setup here, so I had to refresh before we went live. But it's yeah, so got a little Pinot Gris tonight. So
Okay, because we weren't really upset about the fact that the water spilled over the desk. We were upset that the wine was gone.
yes, yes we were. Like we, it's that you're kind of like hoping that he comes and turns the water into wine. That would be me today. So So anyway, so tonight, everybody, we are talking about traditions. And as Mimi said, she was getting ready for some new stuff going on in her neck of the woods, and so am I. It's a really cool time of the year. We're getting ready to go into all of the major kind of more traditional family holidays. Certainly for any of our religious folks who, or maybe not religious, but Jewish and Muslim folks. We've also just had a series of big holidays that are observed by those faiths, I guess in September. And now we're coming up on Thanksgiving, well, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, all of that kind of stuff. And these are really important times for families in general, but as we kind of integrate all of these new people into our lives, including our children, sometimes can be a really important but sometimes challenging time for adoptive families. So we wanted to talk a little bit about that, and we've got some really great articles that we've kind of read about. Some things that if you're married, how you like navigate the kind of in-laws, how you navigate those folks and grandparents in terms of the kids, all of that kind of stuff. So the first big holiday, I guess, that's coming up is Halloween in about 2 weeks, I think it is. Week and a
Is
half.
it that quickly? Yes, I guess it is. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Although the Christmas stuff has been in the store since like Labor Day.
Mhm.
But so Mimi, what's going on in your neck of the woods? What are you guys doing? Are you guys dressing up and trick or treating and?
Well, it's interesting because Wood and I never really celebrated Halloween. He said his family doesn't celebrate it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think my mom was too much into it. Growing up, we would have, I think it's called Harvest Day or something related to the church. That wasn't Halloween, but I don't know, a Halloween substitute. So, but this year, we have Nana for the first year for Halloween, and I'm like, well, I don't really want to celebrate it. We don't have kids coming by. We never have candy. Um, I think it's still to be cute for her to wear a costume. And so it's that struggle between, um, from my perspective, Wood's perspective is kind of faith based.
Mm-hmm.
But my perspective is just kind of cute based. I don't have any really thing to back it up besides I want her to wear a cute costume. So we're, working through that. He doesn't have any strong feelings about it right now because he's so young, but it may be something that we'll have to deal with over time.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have someone else that you're developing those traditions with, there's all this discussion and talk and compromise that happens with it. What about you? What are you guys doing?
Lots, lots of what is it, negotiating.
Yes.
I was when I was very, very young, we trick or treated and dressed up and the whole thing. And then at some point, we really kind of did go into this faith-based place when I was growing up, where we didn't really observe Halloween anymore. And and so I just really didn't think much about it except for the availability of candy corn, which I absolutely love. Like, and can stockpile this time of year. And so I didn't really think about it until I guess maybe about a month ago. Hope was like, "Well, when are we gonna get my costume?" And I was like, "For what?"
Uh,
And she was like, "For Halloween." I'm like, "You're 13. What do you,
but
you know?" And all
they wear do they wear costumes to school? I mean, I'm not really up on.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if they wear costumes in school. I don't know. Like, and so, so I kind of was like, I just had this flashback of the older kids that we used to come trick or treat at the house and like just have on a mask. Like they just wanted the candy. They didn't really bother with the whole like get up. They just put on a mask and like wanted candy, right? And so
Mhm.
that's kind of what I associated with the older kid and Halloween. And she was like, "Well, people don't trick or treat. We live in a condo." And she was like, "People don't trick or treat." And I was like, "No, we don't trick or treat in the building." And so you want to go out in the neighborhood? Yeah. And I was like, "With a pumpkin bucket? Yeah. At 13? Yeah."
Did she do it last year? Is that what she's referring to?
No, and I think part of it
Oh,
is that
interesting.
there are things that I trip over sometimes with Hope, that she wants to create a memory that never was. Like, she
Okay.
didn't have an opportunity to so before, so now so we have to kind of double back and try to create some of these kind of things for some of us that kind of were raised with our bio families, that are kind of etched in our head already, right? So I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of struggling with it because I'm like, "You're 13. Of course, I mean, okay, we'll go trick or treating," but it's just odd to me. It's odd to me, and I mean, I can get past the whole faith thing. I'm like, it's just a costume. You really want the candy? That's fine.
Right.
I don't. I'm not tripping over that, but I'm really tripping over the "you're 13 and you want to go trick or treating," and even though I know where it's coming from, right?
Right. I think that's interesting because where do children get these ideas, or even us get these ideas of what makes a good tradition or a family tradition? And I think a lot of it is media based,
Yeah.
right? So
Hmm.
this idea of even trick or treating and going around, and that this is an experience that I should have had at some point in my life, or that I want to create this experience for Nana, all comes from some external place
Yeah.
of creating this, having a picture for it, and saying we did it, even though for the child doesn't, you know, if we never, she doesn't eat candy on a normal basis. So going to get some from someone else isn't something that has to be a part of her experience. So I think that's interesting.
Yeah. So we went to Michael's today to go buy the frame for her father's flag, and you know, Michael's is not the place. If you are not really into like building like the whole experience
Mhm.
of holidays, Michael's is really not the place to go. My mistake. And so I should have just ordered it off of Amazon like I originally planned. But we went in there, and so it's exploding Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. And you know, we kind of we couldn't get through the store because she was like, a little kid, like, "Oh, look at this," and there's like a pumpkin carving kit. I hate pumpkin. I hate it. I don't like the way it tastes. I don't like pumpkin spice lattes from like Starbucks. I don't like pumpkin. I just don't. And like the whole idea of carving it and scooping, no, I really don't want to do this. But she was like, are we going to carve pumpkins? And this is, we struggle. I'm working on some of her communication things where I'm like, use your words. If you want to do something, just ask me that you tell me that you want to do it. Ask me or tell me. Don't like ask me like, are we going to? Because the implication is, because I'll be like, no, I don't want to do pumpkin.
Right. Right.
And we can shut that down real quick. And so I was like, well, you got to use your word. You might want to rephrase that if you want to do it. And so she was like, okay. And then she didn't say anything. So we're walking around the store, and she was like, okay, can we carve pumpkins? And I was like, yeah, okay. Well, I guess I'll have to go buy a pumpkin, and we'll go through the whole thing sometime this week. But I just, it's not. I don't even like pumpkins, but she needs this experience, so we're gonna do it.
And that, there it is right there. At the end of the day, I think you just said the main point is because, especially dealing with an older child, she needs that experience for whatever to put into her array of experiences. Sometimes we just have to go out and do those things that we're not interested in doing. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, I see you. You like, I really don't want to do
yeah,
anything with these pumpkins, but
right.
you
I
never
mean,
know. Because did you carve pumpkins when you were little?
yeah.
Oh,
I don't like the smell of them. I don't like the way they feel. I don't like the way they taste. I just think it's just. I mean, don't get me wrong. I appreciate the way that they look. I appreciate the finished product. I'd rather buy one. I mean, like, like this is.
so here's a thought. They probably have pumpkin carving like parties or other things, where you can go to Michael's or something. They probably have those.
Yeah,
Probably do
yeah,
one there.
yeah. So maybe I don't know. We'll do something, but I mean, she'll have it. But but there's a part of me already that's like, we ain't doing this next year when you're 14. Like that's it. Like we gonna do this one shot deal.
Let me take the pictures and we can say that we did it. We conquered it. And we
But I mean, I also realize that usually for these kinds of moments that I can recognize that she needs as a tradition that she didn't have, one shot is all she needs. Like it
Okay.
doesn't need to happen more than once. And so um so I'm hoping that that's the case because I really hate pumpkins. And I still haven't navigated the whole like we're 13 and going trick or treating. We're gonna go, but I'm very concerned. I am also concerned about our reception
Mhm.
because she looks like a grown woman. She's 5'6", she looks until she opens her mouth. I mean, her face looks young, but for the most part, if she does not speak and something 13ish come out of her mouth, she could pass for much older. And
Mhm.
so I'm a little concerned that when people open the door,
Right. They'll be like, "What are
you
you doing here?"
yeah, what are you doing here? Like you're grown, or you're clearly a teenager at least. So I'm a little concerned about how the reaction might be, but we'll see. I don't know.
Right.
We'll see.
Which is, again, it sounds like something that you guys continue to navigate because all
Hmm.
those things or the behaviors and all those things are things that you'll continue to crash up against her age versus her, I guess, maturity in some of those things.
Hmm.
Like I haven't
Yeah,
had those experiences,
yeah,
or I'm acting a certain way because I'm still working through.
yeah. Her emotional age is much younger, so it's kind of crazy. And so I don't even know like what she's going to dress up as because, frankly, almost all of the female adult costumes are like sexy slut. Like it's
Right,
just
right, right.
so I'm like, I don't
Well,
know what
I
we're gonna
know what
do.
Nana is dressing up as. Nana
What is
is
Nana
going
dressing
to
up?
be Doc McStuffins.
Oh my
That
god.
black female woman doctor. And so I don't think, you know what, Nana doesn't really watch that much TV, so I don't, she has Doc McStuffins underwear, so she knows what it is, but I don't think she really knows what she does. And so there it is. That's what she's going to be
So,
this year.
all right,
And it was
all right.
easy to put together. So,
That's so cute. That's so cute. So yeah. So, what other kind of things do you kind of have planned going forward into the big season?
well,
Have you thought about it?
you know, being married, like you talked about, kind of navigating the relationship between your in-laws. First of all, my in-laws are great. My parents, my husband gets along very well with my mother and her husband, and I get along very well with his parents. So those relationships are great. Last year, for the first year, my parents and my sister all came here for Thanksgiving. They're going to do it again this year. But since we're going to go visit my husband's parents for Christmas, I'm trying to think of intentionally making a way so that my mother can experience some piece of Christmas, because that's a big deal for her, during the Thanksgiving time. So
Okay.
so you
Okay.
have to be like, when you're creating these traditions, it before, I think, when it's just you as an adult, you've had those experiences when you're younger, but now when there's a child in the mix, everybody wants to be a part of it. So you have to be very intentional about it. Um, so what I'm thinking about is maybe doing like a Christmas tree trimming party
Oh, cool.
a couple days after Thanksgiving,
Mhm.
which maybe is a little early, but allows us to do something maybe with stockings and things like that, um, and putting up a tree. So my mom gets to have some of that piece of it. So that's
Mhm.
what we're thinking about.
Cool.
What
Cool.
about you?
Well, we'll be going to my hometown for probably both holidays, but I think we're probably going to go morning of the actual day. One, the travel situation is horrendous. It's only about 2 hours away from where I live now, but it is, it can, on a holiday night, on a holiday's eve, it can turn into, uh, a Gilligan's Island like 4 hour tour. So I think that we're gonna do day of. It looks like when I get there on Thanksgiving, or I'll probably do a lot of prep here. Hoping I'll probably do a lot of prep here, and it looks like we'll cook once we get there.
Exciting. Cooking with the family.
Yeah, it looks like we'll cook when we get there, with turkey and all that, typical stuff. Sweet potato pie, not pumpkin. Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Us too. Just the sweet potatoes.
Sweet
We don't
potato
do
pie,
pumpkin
not
either.
that pumpkin,
Although
not
I
that
do
pumpkin.
have some pumpkins though.
So, and Christmas, I think that we'll probably be there to Christmas Day. It'll probably be a short trip because I've been promising Hope that we were going to go to try to ski, or at least what's the inner tube,
Inner tubing.
tubing.
Yes,
That's the
that's
word.
it.
So I think that we'll try that because I got her some gear last year, and watch, then we'll have like 80-degree winter here. But right now that's the tentative plan, and I don't know what we're gonna do for New Year's. We do have a big thing here at the Capitol. Like there's fireworks at the our like little town hall is not far. We're in the suburbs, and then we can also kind of go into the city for fireworks or something. But honestly, for the like last 5 years, maybe New Year's. All right, you can watch the ball drop on YouTube. Like I just I just sleep right on through it. But I know I'll be up this year, so
Making
yeah,
those memories. Making those
making
memories.
making memories. So yeah.
Well, one of the articles that you sent through talks about how, excuse me, sorry guys, talks about how one of the mothers, when it comes to holidays, her children start to kind of freak out a little bit. And then I'm not sure which other article I read talked about how to maybe honor a child's previous traditions
Hmm.
before they have come to you. Like, so there maybe have been things that they're used to doing on a particular holiday that they may want to incorporate into your traditions, or it may be that you'll get a lot of emotions during that time. Now,
Hmm.
we don't have to
Hmm.
think about that so much with Nana because she's so young, but have you encountered any of that? Or do you anticipate any of that with
Um,
Hope?
I do anticipate it. She tends to, first, like the big holidays, there tend to either be very, very high expectations or in retrospect, I mean, just a rush of emotions, and some of them are bad memories. Some of them are just like I really wished we could have, should have, would have done this because I needed to do it and I just wasn't attuned to that. Especially kind of early on, those early months. And So I'm not really, last year I made a deliberate trip out west to go see her the day after Christmas. So I'm hoping that that kind of eases some things because we kind of had a little tradition where I actually went to go see her.
Right.
And I've also even thought about maybe Christmas for us is really the day after. So maybe we would go do Christmas early at my folks' house and then come back and have our Christmas the way that we did last year. But we got a couple months to kind of figure that out.
Right, and I think that is to me one of the challenging part is that intentionality with it, especially if you don't live close to your family. If we lived close to either one of our families, it'd probably be easier to just fall into whatever the group was doing at the time. But
Hmm.
when you have to travel and do all those things, you have to think about things like, okay, well, we're not going to take all your presents with you. So we need to figure out, are we going to do it before or after, and all these kind of logistical things, but that will end up being actually the tradition for you guys in years to come.
Hmm. Hmm.
So something else I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you?
No, go ahead.
Um, so we talked a little bit about holidays, but what about other traditions? Because everything doesn't have to be, a holiday tradition.
Hmm.
Like it
Hmm.
could be things that you remember from childhood, like playing games or Friday night movie night or
Right.
things like that. Anything that you guys have worked on?
So we do have kind of pizza night once a week. We have kind of like a pizza. Sometimes I order in, sometimes it's just frozen. Frozen pizzas have gotten pretty good now. Um, so we do that. This year we also um, we on the anniversary of her father's death, we did a balloon release that we'll be doing every year to commemorate him. And so we've got a few things that we've done. There are things that we just routinely celebrate. Um, and it really it's helpful. I mean, and I have heard from my friends that especially kind of the weekly rituals, kind of just kind of like having a pizza night, having a TV night, having those kinds of things, from especially from my friends who are in the military and have kids,
Hmm.
and they move around a lot, that those kind of weekly rituals are very, very important because they provide that structure and that kind of, we touch down and we're together. And it's been a little challenging lately because I've been on the road, so we try to do it when I get home. So they've been moving around a little bit, but those kinds of things are really important. But yeah, the biggest one I think that we did this year was the balloon release, and it was really important to commemorate her father and to kind of help her. It was like after we did that, it was kind of like she took a big step emotionally and kind of dealing with grief. And so, those are really important kinds of things too, to kind of establish a tradition around for older kids because their memories about their previous life aren't always bad.
Right.
People like to kind of only remember, oh my God, it was horrible. They were this, they were that. But they have a very complicated set of memories about their previous life before being in the system or even being adopted, and so they want to acknowledge the good parts of it and sit with that. And so I try to work hard to find those moments and make a really big deal about them. Especially after we finalize, those things are not a threat to me. They're just not.
Right.
So it's okay to celebrate them and acknowledge them and commemorate them.
Mm. That's interesting. One of the things I've been thinking about is during like because my husband's family are ministers, and I was wondering if we made a tradition to um, maybe include Nana's birth family in our prayers, as we're going around and
Mm,
talking about that, would that be a good thing, or would that grow to end up being something that makes her feel othered? In what way
mm,
can we acknowledge and honor them, but in a way that doesn't
mm,
eventually, like right now she's 2, so she probably doesn't know what we're talking about. But
right.
when she becomes 6 or 7,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, will that make her feel out of place?
Yeah. I don't know. And sadly, I would certainly love for if there are adoptees that listen to or watch the podcast, I would certainly love for them to weigh in on this question. By the way, the group chat is open, Q&A is open. But I would certainly love to hear some thoughts from adoptees on that because it's because I don't know.
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
I think that's a good, just in general question, I guess, for adoptees is what would you have wanted your adopted parents to be thinking about in creating traditions? And how, if any way, would you want them to think about your birth or first family?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm on a couple of I've mentioned this numerous times, a few Facebook support groups, and a couple of them that I'm on are primarily families, adoptive families, excuse me, who adopted at birth, and yet
Hmm.
and they're open adoptions, and they have these amazing relationships with the child's birth mother or birth father or first family, and sometimes these stories are so compelling and they're so wonderful, and that exact version isn't really available to me and Hope, but certainly we have her paternal family, and so how do we I don't I guess we could pray for them, and I think that she might really like that. I guess it's something that I'll have to talk to her about. How would she feel about that? I think she would, I mean, kind of working through this with her, I imagine that she would really like that. But I certainly would love to hear what some adoptees think about that. Yeah.
Okay.
So, in terms of another tradition, y'all know I've been still struggling. The lights have been out on communication between me and my church on the dedication for 2 weeks now. And, as we were kind of prepping for this particular podcast, it's just been weighing on my heart even more, kind
I
of
can tell.
like,
I can see it on your face that it's weighing
you
on you.
know, it's really wearing on me that I feel like, okay, so I feel like why can't we have this religion and tradition that birth families have, or even adoptive families of much younger kids? Why can't we have that or some version of it? And so I am feeling mad, othered, not supported, not like loved. I'm just like, I mean, seriously, communication has just like, I haven't, I sent them the adoptive blessing blog that I had reblogged on my blog a couple of weeks ago. I sent them that, and it was like the lights went out. And I am having an incredibly difficult time reconciling that. At the same time, they're doing programming and stuff that Hope is like, I can't go to this because you're not in town, and and it's like I can't just have somebody drop her off at it, even though it's church. I can't do it like have somebody do a drive by, right?
Right.
And one of our nannies, our primary nanny, is Palestinian, and it is not okay for me to be like, can you just go and sit with my kid
Right.
at this event at church? It's just I respect her and I respect her faith, to not do that to her, and so she, as Hope's interest in participating in church goes up, the communication halts. regarding this particular issue, and I'm having a really difficult time reconciling it because this is a ritual that I believe I want and I need and that my family needs. And I was flying back from LA yesterday and I was watching, you know how like they have on the long haul flights, they have it's like NBC just must be making a killing because they're on,
Yes.
those little TV things, and
Right.
they showed, I think it was Parenthood, and they showed an episode where this set of parents were there was all kinds of family drama around having their baby dedicated, and I cried during this on the plane because I was like, I want us to be fighting like that over who's going to
Right.
host a dinner or a
Right.
brunch for Hope's dedication. Of course, my seatmates were like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Because like this episode seems to like it. I don't get it. But I cried because I was like, I want this kind of hoopla for me and my daughter, and we're not having it. And these are the kinds of traditions I think that are important to all families. But with older child adoption, I'm finding that there's a unique challenge for me and my house of worship on this issue. So
That's the update with the church. Oh, sorry
no
about that.
update.
No
Yeah, no
updates.
update.
Well, it's interesting that you're struggling with that because I find that I'm still struggling. If you are a reader of the blog, I still have not had this adoption celebration party for Nana. I still haven't had it. I still haven't planned it. I don't have a date. And I'm struggling with this, and I'm not exactly sure where the block is. One of my friends said, "Why don't you have it when your family comes down for Thanksgiving?" You know.
Hmm.
So I said, "Okay." And I haven't thought about it too much yet. So we'll see. We might not ever have one, and I'm not quite sure where the block is. I need to continue to think on it and pray on it and see what's bothering me, what's
So do
keeping me
you
from.
so do you really want to have it, or do you think you're supposed to have it?
I do want to have it.
Okay.
But I think I also want other people to want me to have it. Doesn't that sound strange?
No, it doesn't. It's kind of like, when I had my adoption shower, and some people didn't show up, and it was really kind of like, well, maybe they were busy, maybe there were other things going on, maybe, but at the end of the day, if I had had a big belly other than the big belly produced by like donuts.
Right, right. Which I do have one of those, but we're not going to talk about it.
you know but if there was like something gestating in there, I think that people really would have been like, ah, and you have the hat and the whole shebang. And I don't regret, like, if any of my friends that like hosted it or came or watching, like, I so love you. It meant so very much to me. And for my friends who didn't come, I'm sure maybe you had a great, I mean, I'm sure you had a great excuse, but it was just kind of it was an odd experience. It was not bad. It was great, but it was kind of like there was something missing. There was something missing, and it's you can't. It's like I can't get that back. But it was
Right.
something we were supposed to do. Some people were really happy to participate. Others, yeah, it's some of these things are thorny and ouchy.
They are ouchy because I think I want other people to be excited with me, right?
Hmm.
I want other
Hmm.
people to be excited for us. Um, it's one thing to throw a party for yourself, right? I can throw parties all the time, but I want other people to be like, I'm excited because I really want to celebrate this with you. And maybe people are, and they just kind of want to see your lead to
Hmm.
like stand behind you. But that's the ouchy, messy part of that because I don't I don't know. I'm still dealing with it, so we're still
So
working.
here's a question for you. Are you gonna next year? Will you make a big to do a family day?
I like the idea of Family Day, actually. I really do like the idea of Family Day for us. It's the day that we became a family, and I would like us to celebrate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, stay tuned next year for
For our new tradition of
our
our
new
family
tradition.
anniversary.
Yeah, our family anniversary. Our family anniversary is June 6th. But we've got actually we have and I haven't decided whether or not we will. Some families also observe their placement date, but there's a lot of stuff out there, both from adoptive parents and adoptees, about how the placement date represents yet another loss.
Right.
And so I'm not really sure what we're gonna do. If we're gonna do anything for us, that's January. That's in January. So I'm not really sure, but we'll see. It ends up being yet another holiday that's like clustered on, and then my birthday comes like a week and a half, 2 weeks after that. So we'll just kind of keep the party going, I guess, from Halloween on into February. But I haven't decided if we will observe it. I think we might observe it in some way, celebrate. There's a part of me that wants to celebrate it because it's a get for me,
Right.
but I understand that it also represented a day of such fear for her,
Right.
such fear of starting this new life. I mean, it was
Right.
just abject fear, and I look back on that time and I see how she struggled
Hmm.
in the weeks subsequent to her placement with me, and I don't know. I think an observation, and I mean, I might just take her for ice cream or waffles or something. I don't know, something special, and maybe just not say anything about it. But that would be my thing,
Right.
like my secret party.
Your secret party for yourself.
Here's
Party
some ice
time.
cream, because I'm gonna tell you what, she's not gonna turn down ice cream. Like,
Right.
so I don't know. We'll see how the holidays go, and we'll keep the party going, I guess. So it is now just about quarter to 8 Eastern, 7 Central. So we are going to start the wind down or the tea down
Yes. The tea down. My
over there.
medicine is starting to wear off too. My eyes are starting to get a little bit more squinchy. So,
um, but before we wrap up, we do have a few articles that we'll post on the podcast page. A couple of articles that we found about um, rituals and traditions, and so we'll post that kind of stuff for you guys to follow up on and take a listen. Again, adoptees, we would love to know what you have to say and what you think or what your experiences were in terms of developing new rituals and traditions with your adoptive families. So get into it.
all right. So the wind down. So what are we talking about today? Are we going to talk about Blackish? Are we going to talk about what reality show? We didn't really get any recommendations, or did
I
you receive
know.
any?
I
I don't think there's
didn't.
any good. There's probably no good reality TV shows to watch
Well,
right.
I think doesn't Real Housewives of Atlanta start tonight?
Oh, does it? I
I don't
I don't
know.
know. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I think it starts very, very
Anybody in the
soon.
chat room? If you know, let us
Anybody?
know.
Yeah, so but I know that I think it's going to be starting pretty soon. I kind of admit that I have been off the reality TV game with the Real Housewives because I just kind of got so frustrated, especially Atlanta. Oh, it was just uh, frustrating seeing women. I mean, all of the whole franchise. I get tired of seeing women bashing each other. And I tried to watch New York, and I kind of had to cut that off when the girl with one leg, like, got mad and threw her leg on the table when they was out in public. I don't know if you saw that, but I was like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
Click.
that is a little much. I try to watch Love and Hip Hop New York, and it's just, it's, I don't know. It doesn't have anything compelling about it that makes me want to talk about it to somebody else. You know, I
Yeah,
kind of watch it while I'm doing other things. It's on. It's probably just trash that
yeah.
I should let go. I even watched Hollywood Divas. Did you even try to watch that one?
I tried to watch an episode, and I just kind of I didn't know who these people were. Like, I
Oh,
mean, I knew
really?
who I knew who some of them were, but it was just kind of like, I mean, I knew who some of them were, but I just couldn't care. Just like, not even a
Well,
little bit.
my issue with that is that these all I'm familiar with all of them on there, and they are all actresses. But the shade that they were throwing each other's way was so thick and so awful. I guess I was expecting this show to be something like showing them in the midst of going through auditions and what it's like on the side to uh, what a real life of actress is like. I really have a problem with this theme that all of these kind of diva shows, they have to do a project together. Why? I guess it's to create the drama. Why can't I just see snippets of your life? And if you're friends, that's fine, but I don't mind seeing you with other people that are not the main stars of the show. So
Well,
just the
I think
formula is awful.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that the formula is what it is that, they put together fake friends, they put together fake colleagues, they put together groups of people that they know are going to spark. And if you don't spark enough, then you get a recurring role, you get kicked off. I mean, and it just, don't get me wrong, I love me some good TV. I love it. I love it. But I just haven't found something compelling enough for me to kind of get into it. And maybe it's just that I just, I have the shows that I'm like really into, and it's just hard to get into something else. But I'm gonna try Real Housewives of ATL. ATL almost always pulls me back in. I'm not really sure why, but the other franchises maybe less so.
What about, have you watched all the Shonda Rhimes shows?
I have. I just caught up on Scandal today, and I haven't seen Grey's. Now you know that Grey's Anatomy has an adoption
Absolutely.
thread this year, and so yeah, and it's funny because Hope sat down with me the night that things really blew up on the adoption storyline. She sat down and because Grace is like, okay, it's not so bad. There's not, so she'll sit down and watch it with me. But for her anyway, a lot of people like on blogs and stuff kind of like, oh my God, adoption themes in TV or movies, really kind of freak them out and freak their kids out. Doesn't seem to bother her, at least not externally, but it freaked me out.
Really? So what made you freak out?
Well, I guess I'm freaked out more because I was like, I wasn't expecting an adoption
Okay.
storyline. And so I was like, I agreed to let her sit and watch it because it comes on before bedtime. And so, we're going to sit down and watch it. And I was like, okay, now I'm constantly like looking. So I can't really enjoy the show because I don't know if she's going to like freak out. But there's the kind of transracial adoption piece. There's then there's the sister and the daddy, and she went looking for them, but they didn't know it's just, it's going to be interesting to see how it's unpacked. I haven't
Yeah.
seen this week's when things, because I guess week before last, they all found out.
Right. They all found out. I guess she knew. Well, no, she didn't. Yeah, she knew. She didn't know that. Um, so this is a spoiler. So if you haven't watched it, fast forward. She didn't know that Dr. Weber was her father.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not a spoiler. I don't know. But
And like there's that, I mean, there's got what, three black characters? There's a new one.
exactly.
Okay, four. I forgot. How can I forget Jesse? I was thinking to myself like, okay, here are the brown people, but then who's Jesse Williams? Praise the Lord. So
Yes, yes, he is on there, and he is not the father. So Dr. Weber is okay. And you know, I think what was interesting is that we got to see an adoptee's anger, right?
mm,
Adopted person's anger. I'm angry that once again people know about my circumstance and I'm the last to know. Like, so Dr. Weber knew that he was her father and didn't tell her. And she was coming to him with her issues with her sister, and he never revealed that. So once again, she's in the position of being the last to know. And I don't think that, I think it was interesting to see that piece of it. So
yeah.
um, I think they're going to convince her to stay. So we'll see how this transpires over time,
Mm.
as she meets and integrates with her new family.
Yes. So I got to catch up on that because I was out to dinner and the time changed. It just didn't work. I still have to watch How to Get Away with Murder. Can we just have a moment to talk about Viola's wig situation?
Oh, yes, please, let's do because that was all over the blogs, all over the Twitter. Excuse me, guys.
What the hell?
Um.
Like, we can't get her a better wig, or she can't just rock her hair?
Oh, wait a minute. So you haven't seen the last episode?
No. So she takes the wig
Okay, so
off.
we can't talk about it. We okay, people. Next episode, we're gonna talk about Viola and this wig situation. So we can't talk about it because ABM hasn't seen it. So
I'm not one of those people that's all into like upset by spoilers, but this is encouraging news. But I do know that people were aghast last week when they showed her at night with a head wrap, and I'm like, for real, y'all know that we sleep with head wraps and stuff. Like, stop.
well, this is this is more than that. So if you don't mind being spoiled, so actually Viola took off her wig, took off her
Thank you.
eyelashes, took off her makeup, um, because she took off all this kind of barrier of things that she presents herself to the world with to
Hmm.
get real. Um, she needs to be very vulnerable and open in that moment to talk to her husband about the situation. So it was just
Okay.
interesting that I don't think we've ever seen that.
Okay.
I mean,
She got real.
because
Okay, she got real.
it wasn't even. I mean, it was a really real, like, looks like a real person doing this because when she took off her wig, her hair didn't look like you know, made for TV.
It
It
was
looked like
snatched.
she had on a wig all day, and that's what her hair looked like afterwards. And this is what we look like sometimes when we take off all these things that we put on. But it's more about it's less about that piece. I mean, it was a very vulnerable time because she's showing how she looks after
Mm.
she takes off all this mask that she wears for her persona in public.
Okay.
This is the real me at home.
All
So it's
right.
interesting.
Well, cool. I will be catching up on that in the next day or two.
Oh,
And yeah.
one
What?
more thing. So I watched Blackish. Did you watch Blackish?
I mean, I've just been no TV for me, so I gotta catch up. What's up?
Okay. Yes. Okay. So this week, Andre decides he's going to do all the mom things. For Rainbow, and he gets accolades for being a dad at first. It was
Mm-hmm.
interesting. I'd like to talk about this a little bit more because there's a lot of things in that TV show that I thought were interesting. One, the fact that he got accolades just for doing things that mothers do every day, right? He was late to his meeting. He said, "Oh, I'm late because I had to do something with my kids," and everybody was like, "Oh, right, present father." But when another woman runs in like, "Oh, my kid was sick," they're like, "Mm-mm-mm, you need to call in advance and everything." so
Oh.
it was interesting because Rainbow now had some more time, right? So then she wanted to, get busy in the bedroom, and he was like, "I'm busy making this cornbread."
He has a headache.
But you have to watch it because she's like, "Well, if you're not in the mood, you can just," and I was like, "Okay, right." She's like, "Look, we don't
Okay.
have to do the whole thing."
Just
It's just interesting watching the role reversal. But this is the kicker of it. At the end, she says, now you realize that it's not easy as you thought. And he said, "Yeah, I understand it's not easy." And she said, "I like doing those things because it helps relieve me of the working mom guilt." And I was like,
mm,
wow, because he has no guilt for being a working dad, right? So she
mm,
I just thought that was an interesting, and she
interesting.
said it so quickly that I don't know if that many people caught it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but he's like, "Oh, okay," but he has no guilt for being a working dad, and he doesn't feel like he needs to do those things to, I don't know, show that he's a good father,
Parent.
and possibly because what the show showed is if he does any of those things, he's automatically given
He gets
accolades.
rewarded.
Yeah, so
He's rewarded for doing those things.
interesting
Huh.
TV show. Unpacking it, it is kind of silly, but they do have a lot of like interesting little nuggets there if you
Hmm.
look at it.
Well, that scoots that up to the top of my DVR list, so
You
I
got a lot of
will
things
have
to
to catch
watch,
that.
catch up on.
I got a lot of stuff to catch up on, so yeah. So I'll tell you about how I'm gonna catch up on them and recommendations. But you go
All
first.
right.
We are like recommending some stuff this week. What's up? What's up? What you got?
So my recommendation is to treat yourself. I went and got a massage today. Hallelujah.
Oh,
And of
I'm jealous.
course, what the masseuse always tells me is that obviously I have all these tight spots that I need to be on a regular regimen of massages. So now I get to tell Wood, the masseuse said it, so I have to, it's like a doctor telling you
I
that,
was gonna say your new health professional.
Yes, like a doctor, I have to follow the instructions. So that is my recommendation to treat yourself to a massage.
Good
Um,
deal.
what about you?
Cool.
What are you
Well, it's so
recommending?
funny because I just found some Spa Finder cards from my shower last year,
All
so
right.
I need to take that recommendation to heart. So I bought the Google Chromecast this week.
Yes, yeah, you did
Um,
tell me you were going to do that.
Yes. So Mimi and I touched base last week, and so here's my shameful reason for getting the Google Chromecast is that I have an addiction, a TV addiction. I have an addiction to a particular show. I am currently addicted to Pretty Little Liars on Netflix. Yes, shame. A moment. So I watch it at the gym. They have Wi-Fi. I take the iPad. I'm on the machine, like getting it, and I've watched Pretty Little Liars. And so last week, after I got home from my trip, Hope was out of school for a student holiday, and I had just gotten home. And I just wanted to veg. I just wanted us to veg. And so I wanted to binge watch Pretty Little Liars on the couch. And we stream through the Wii, and I'm watching my Pretty Little Liars, and she comes in and she wants to be with me, and it's so sweet. And she goes like, but she's asking too many damn questions. And I'm on season 3. She's asking too many damn questions, and
I
and
get
so
you.
like, who is this and what is that? And I'm so confused. Mom, can we go back to season 1? Girl, I'm 50 episodes in. No, we can't go back to season
I
1.
have the same problem with Wood. Yes, I do. Come in and just
So,
try to catch up. I'm like, just catch up, catch it where you can. Keep.
right. I'm like, they're like 23, 22 episodes in, and I'm like on episode 5, season 3. I am like 50 solid episodes in. There is no going back. There's only going forward. And stop asking all these questions. You are wrecking my like Pretty Little Liars high. And so that's the only streaming device in the house, other than me hooking up the laptop or the tablet or something like that to the TV in my room. So I bought the Google Chromecast, and so I bought the Google Chromecast, and I didn't tell her.
Ooh,
I didn't.
ooh.
I didn't tell her that we have this device because it's mine.
Well, you're entitled to it. You bought it.
Right. And let me just say that once you get it all hooked up, which is really easy, it takes like 2 minutes. It's only $35. Like, go get you some. You can watch your guilty pleasure with no questions in your bedroom at 11 o'clock at night, and you can be on episode 60 just like I am. So with no
So what?
questions.
What is the recommendation? Is it the Chromecast or is it Pretty Little Liars? Because
No, Pretty Little Lies. It's a terrible addiction. It's so dumb. And as she's sitting there, like picking apart the whole show, and I was like, okay, but I know how dumb the show is. I don't need you. Like, this is mindless drivel that I just want to veg on, and it's like it comes on like ABC Family.
uh-uh.
It's just it's. I don't recommend Pretty Little Liars, but I do recommend the Google Chromecast. So
Okay, we need to
so.
get paid for that advertisement.
It's good stuff.
So Google,
It's
if
good
you want to
stuff.
sponsor
Yes.
us, we are here
We
and
are
ready.
here. We are here. We are here for you. Give us money. So, and I know that at some point, Mimi is going to recommend my baked, flaming hot baked
Oh,
chips.
I
But she don't want to talk about it because she didn't get them from the actual corner store, and she talked
I
bad about
did
me.
get them. I got them from a convenience store. And I meant to bring them up here. So next week I will show you. You know, I don't know about recommending, but I will show you that they actually exist.
So we had this whole thing because y'all remember a few weeks ago, if you've looked at previous podcasts, she has these flaming hot Cheetos and all of this
Popcorn.
stuff and popcorn. Well, there are, for those of you who want lighter fare, baked crackers with the flaming hot. She's shaking her,
No,
she's shaking her
no,
lock.
because I feel like we shouldn't be talking about this because it is an abomination to the Flaming Hot
It's not.
brand that they
It's
have
not.
Flaming Hot baked crackers like Lay's baked potato chips. No, we're just not going to talk about this. I am going to show you guys so you know it exists, and then I'm going to burn them.
Well, I have to say, well, if you're into the lighter thing, if you're looking for something lighter but still have the flaming hot, then you can get you some baked crackers. But I will say, I bought them for originally from Hope, and she summarily rejected them on the first thing, and I swear that they breed in the box. So, like, my colleagues at work were like, "You got another bag of crackers? Like, when are these things going?" Was it a box of 10 or was it a box of 50? Like, and it's not a Costco thing, but
Oh, you bought
I
them from
still,
Costco.
no,
You
I
didn't just
didn't.
buy the
No,
one pack.
no, I didn't buy it. Well, they only come in the box. So they
Oh,
only, like,
see, that's because I shop at the convenience store. You just got one pack of these crackers. So, I didn't know you
oh,
could buy a variety.
they pop them open at the convenience store and sell them one at a time, apparently. Sadly, I got
Well,
tired of the
that's where
whole.
we get our flaming hot Lucy's at the corner store. Okay.
All right, Gay Boosh. All right, all right. Anyway, if you're looking for flaming hot items that are baked on for the lighter fare, there are crackers. So anyway, that's she's not gonna recommend them. Like they're
I'm
not
gonna
that
bring them for show and tell. How about that?
bad. Okay. All right. So Mimi, where can they find you in the E streets?
You can find me on the blog at complicatedmelody.com. That's complicated melody with an I. You can find me on Google Plus at Mimi Complex. You can find me on Twitter at Mimi Complex. Um, yeah, and you can email me at complicatedmelody@gmail.com. What
Uh,
about you?
you can find me at adoptiveblackmom.com on for the blog, Adoptive Black Mom on Twitter, and you can find me on Facebook at Adoptive Black Mom as well. And I'm gonna try to do a little bit better. I'm starting to populate the Facebook thing with little mini updates a little bit more. So if you want to kind of get like quick catch ups, catch me there.
All right. All
So,
right.
all
So I
right.
guess
Oh,
we
we
got
do. Do
that.
we have any shout outs? Do we have any shout outs before we leave?
Well, I do want to shout out Future Adopter because Future Adopter continues to do the recaps of our blog. So if you are not feeling like you want to watch the whole hour, which we highly recommend that you do, however, if you want to summarize and funny with videos and gifs, you can go to Future Adopters blog, and it is sistersadopt.wordpress.com. So get the
All right.
recap. What
Yes,
about
yes. So I got a couple people on Twitter I want to shout out. Emily H, who is always so engaging on Twitter. Thank you, thank you. Sunset Dream, who tweeted me this week and actually just favorited another tweet of my announcement that we were podcasting tonight. She's a new follower. What's up, girl? And I do want to shout out Angie Adoptee as well. She posted a really provocative, I don't know if she thinks it was provocative. I thought it was kind of provocative about blog post maybe about a week and a half ago on transracial adoption, questioning why black folks are not adopting white kids. And I formally posted a reply to her, and she was incredibly gracious. So shout out to Angie Adoptee for a great and provocative post.
Yeah, that was a very interesting post. So, and I loved your response to it. So, if you didn't get a chance, read Angie's original post and Adopt a Black Mom's response to it.
Yeah.
Get you some.
Yeah, get you some, get you some. All right, well, thank you, and we will see you now in a week and a half
Yes.
for episode 10.
I
I
know,
think
10 episodes. We are doing it.
I
So
think we should have a party. So,
we should we
a
should have a
tradition.
party.
A tradition.
Yeah, what, every 10 episodes we're gonna do
Yeah,
it?
a
Okay.
tradition ritual. All right. We will see you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.